Blog Talk Radio.
Writing your book is the easy part. Promoting your book so readers can find and purchase it is the hard part. Welcome to the Author Chat Show, hosted by author-publisher Lynda D. Brown. Follow us at www.facebook.com/authorchat. And to contact the show to promote your book, contact me at theauthorchatshow@gmail.com. Stay tuned and listen to today's show.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Author Chat Show. I'm your host, Lynda Brown. I am here in sunny, warm St. Louis, Missouri. Can't believe it's the second day of spring here in St. Louis, Missouri. We're looking at a 70-degree day. It is absolutely beautiful. I'm so blessed to be able to sit in my home while I'm doing my radio show and look out the window and see kids outside playing. It's just an absolutely beautiful day. My guest today is author Brook Lynn Dorcent. Brook Lynn has been a guest on the show a few times chatting about her book, and today we're going to be discussing her new release, Forgetting Betrayal. We'll be right back to chat with author Brook Lynn Dorcent right after a word from today's sponsor. The Author Chat Show is sponsored this month by author Nathalie M. Vasquez. The title of his book is The Semantics of SEO, The Searcher's Intent, the Basic Edition. You can download a copy of this book on Amazon Kindle for $2.99. All right, and welcome back to the show. For those of you just tuning in, my guest today is author Brook Lynn Dorcent. I mentioned that because Brook has actually been on the show. I think this is her third appearance on the show, so I consider her one of our Author Chat authors. Today we're going to be discussing her newest release, Forgetting Betrayal. Brook Lynn, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much, Lynda. Thank you for having me back. I really appreciate it.
Well, since we're also Facebook friends, you have been doing so much since the last time that you were on the show. But for my new listeners that are not familiar with you, why don't we get started with you telling us a little bit about yourself?
I sure will. I am an author, as Lynda has explained. Lynda, you have been very instrumental in my ministry, my writing ministry, since book one. I started out with just writing one book, not realizing what the Lord had in store for me. That one book turned into a series, which I now call the Mark series. So from Missing the Mark, which is book one in the series, to Pressing Toward the Mark, and then book three was actually originally Forgetting Those Things, and that was taken over by my publisher. I'm so thankful now that I have a publisher, TaylorMade Publishing, which she redid that book for me, and now it's entitled Forgetting Betrayal. Since that time that she has taken the book on, I've had my very first book signing at the Barnes & Noble here in Greenville, North Carolina. I've also started a writing club for aspiring authors called Just Write, and I am just having the best time in my life right now.
Well, first of all, thank you so much, but let's give praise and glory to who it belongs to, the Lord. I was so
Amen.
impressed with you. Amen. I was so impressed with you the first time you came on the show and shared your story with us. So it is just absolutely wonderful, Brook Lynn, to see God being faithful and doing what it is that he said he would do as long as we obey him. And I was just I was so amazed, and I was so happy for you to find out that you had actually found a publishing company to take on the projects of publishing your books. Because as a self-published author, it's more than a notion just to publish your own book.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's definitely a labor of love, for sure.
Exactly. So now, since you have a publisher, you no longer have to worry about creating your own covers, doing the editing, the formatting. Are you still kind of working? Do you have your hands in that process just a little bit, or are you totally hands off with that now?
Actually, Diane is very good at including me in the creative process. When we were working on cover design, she actually had 4 covers created, and actually was my final decision which one I wanted to go with. So she's very, very good at including me in the editing process. I was so blessed that the editor was very impressed with my work, so there were no changes in the editing process except for grammatical and technical things, but pretty much the storyline did not change. So I am very blessed to have someone who understands the dynamics of the work and keeps it pretty much as it was written.
Wonderful. So the great thing about it is, and one of the things that we tend to run into being self-published is the control issue. So you still haven't given up total control of your work. Is that correct?
That is correct. Diane is very good at understanding. Her being a former writer herself, she understands and allows us input. Although, I mean, she also is the professional publisher, so I am very open to her suggestions. If she thinks something needs to be changed or polished, I'm very open to that too. So I'm very blessed to have that guidance.
Excellent. Okay, now before we start talking about the book, because one of the things, a lot of the listeners that listen to the radio show, a lot of them are self-published. Some of them are looking to go to a traditional publisher. What advice would you give a self-published author thinking about joining someone like Diane with Tailor-Made Publishing? What advice would you give them about how to go about maybe finding a publisher and, that control issue thing?
Well, I really think that the publisher, the author needs to understand that the publisher is the professional, where you're the professional writer. So you pretty much want to, as they say, stay in your lane and understand that. But also I would recommend that you do your research. Know who you're partnering with, so that way you can actually feel like you're not giving over control, but that you're partnering with your publisher. Because I kind of feel that it's not a tug of war for me. It's a partnership.
Oh, great. Okay, that's a wonderful way to look at it. And, of course, royalties are always a big issue. Without going into specifics, are you happy with the royalties that you're now seeing with your book as opposed to when you self-published?
I'm very pleased with the royalty contract that is in place. I think it is generous considering what traditional royalty contracts are today. So I have no complaints there either.
Okay, and what about the promoting and marketing of the book?
Promoting and marketing is going very well. This year, Diane and I, we sat down to talk about what the goals were for the book, and at this point she is looking at national distribution, so I'm very excited about that, getting out of the Greenville, North Carolina area and into national promotion. So that's where we're looking at right now.
Awesome. That is absolutely awesome. Again, congratulations to you. You have definitely shattered the publishing ceiling, so to speak. And I can't be any happier for you, Brook Lynn. This is absolutely fabulous.
Thank you, Lynda.
Now, sure. Now let's talk about your book, Forgetting Betrayal. Tell us give us a brief synopsis about the book.
Sure. As I mentioned earlier, Forgetting Betrayal is book 3 in the Mark series. So in book number 2, we had a character, Oliver Sparrow, who lost his wife, and he is a single father now. So in book 3, he is in a relationship. He thinks this person is the one. Unfortunately, the person that he's involved with has a past, and this person is Desiree. Desiree hasn't pretty much, she's not able to give herself completely over to Oliver because of this betrayal that she had with a loved one, and it left someone that she loved in a wheelchair. So pretty much the book is about self-forgiveness. And I think the reason why the Lord led me to write this book is because people do hurt those that they love. I don't necessarily think it's an intentional thing. I think we let our selfish desires get in the way. But even when that happens, God still loves us. And sometimes it's very difficult to forgive yourself. So this character, you'll find her in this struggle to forgive herself and to be free for that destiny that God has called her to.
Amen. It's so amazing that your book is about forgiveness. I did a show last night with another author. Her book was also on the topic of forgiveness. And we talked about, Brooklyn, how important it is to forgive those that have hurt you, whether intentionally or not, because forgiveness is not about the person that did you wrong. It's about you being able to let go and to move forward, so that way you can have everything that God has ordained for you. So how is your book with the new title? And of course, I know you still kept your because you had a great fan base of readers. How has the title being changed? How is that working with your new reader group?
Honestly, in the beginning, it was a little bit confusing. They were like, well, why are you changing the title? Why are you changing the cover? Because you have those loyal readers, those loyal fans that they were like, I ain't seen nothing wrong with it to start with. But over time, when they got to see the new cover, they said, oh, yeah, that's really nice. So they are open to it. And I have the best, I think, fan base since book one. And so they have been very, very supportive, and they are excited because book 4 is right on the cusp of book 3.
All right, great. And for those of you that are listening to the show, when you get a chance and listen to the on-demand episode, make sure you look at the pictures that we have as Brook Lynn is doing the interview, because we actually have some pictures from your book club, your Just Right book club for writers, and also you've actually got a fan that has decided to come on the show. Her name is Kyasia Green, and she has read the book, and we're going to talk to her. So I have both Brook Lynn and Kyasia on the line. Kyasia, welcome to the Author Chat Show.
Thank you, Ms. Brown, and thank you for having me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Now, before we get started with the questions, how did you find out about Brook Lynn and her book?
Ms. Brook Lynn is actually my aunt's best friend. So I've known Ms. Brook Lynn since I was younger. And my aunt read her first book, and she was telling me about her book and her series. So we actually decided to buy the book, and I began to read it, and I actually enjoyed the book.
Awesome. There is nothing like word-of-mouth referrals to get your book into the hands of readers that are really kind of hungry for that type of word. I tell people all the time, of course, you definitely want to read the Bible. I mean, that is your mainstay. But it's also great to actually read other books by Christian authors. So that way, like I mentioned to the author that I had on the show last night, people believe, and I think both of you guys can attest to this, is that because you're walking the Christian walk that you don't have problems. That is so not true. Do you find that to be the case?
No, I believe that everyone has problems.
Okay, go ahead, let Brook Lynn answer, and then you can go ahead and respond as well, Kyasia.
Yes, that is actually one of the reasons why I started writing. Growing up in the church and seeing how, as Christians, we're real people, and we have the same problems that everyone else has. And sometimes our struggle is even greater because we're dealing with the spiritual man and the flesh, so there's a tug-of-war a fight going on within us. And so I wrote Missing the Mark, the very first book, to actually say, and on the back of the book, in the text, it says Christians are real people. The problem is, or the real question is, how do we get back on track? Exactly.
And Kyasia?
I would just like to agree with Ms. Brook Lynn, like I said before, that Christians are real people too, and they do go through problems. Everyone has problems. It's just how you deal with the problems is the way it's
Amen. Hey, honey, I could not agree with that better. And you know, when we walk the Christian walk, I know, and like you said, Brook Lynn, we all struggle with this. It's kind of hard to keep that flesh out of the way and just trust God and take those issues and problems to Him and be patient enough to hear from Him with what it is that He wants us to do in order to resolve that. Now, Kyasia, we're going to go back to you. Were you leery about reading a Christian novel? And if so, can you tell us why?
At first, yes, I was leery about reading a Christian novel because I felt like the book would be preachy about constantly doing the right thing and how to live your life. But when I actually read the book, it had a little spicy twist to it, and it actually turned out to be an enjoyable book.
Excellent. I love that. And you know, that is so true. People think that because you write Christian fiction, it's going to be all about, you know, this is what you can do, this is what you can't do, and this is the end of the book. It is so not like that. So it's good to know that you decided to put aside your, pre-beliefs and decided to just go ahead and read the book. Now, have you been able to share your book with friends and other family members besides your mother?
Yes, I actually shared the book with my English teacher. We were talking about it in class, and I told her that she should read it and we should have the class actually read it and have a discussion about it.
Excellent, excellent. And what did you like about Forgetting Betrayal?
I like the plot of the book and how the characters somehow connected with each other. I also like the certain attitudes from certain characters. Like, my favorite character is Oliver, or in the book they call him Ollie. And I like that his demeanor, he brings you in. He has a nonchalant attitude, but he actually cares and he understands you.
Okay. And while reading the book, were there any lessons that you learned from reading this novel?
Yes, I learned that you should always be honest in every situation because you don't know what the outcome is. So if you continue to carry on the lie, you're just dragging out the situation and it'll snowball into a bigger situation and more problems will occur.
Exactly. And while reading the book, was there anything in there that inspired you?
I actually found the character, the deacon, to be inspiring because he broke Desiree's heart, but he know that what he did was wrong, but he didn't want to give up to get her forgiveness. So I feel like everyone, even if someone shoots you down, I believe that everyone should believe in second chances, so you should go for what you believe in.
Absolutely. And one final question, what would you say the message of Forgetting Betrayal is?
I would say the message would be in order to forget and move on with your life, you have to forgive the people who hurt you and did you wrong. Because if you don't forgive them and you'll keep living the past and what they did to you, you'll never be happy. Absolutely.
And Brook Lynn, a question for you. I know this book has been this whole series actually, the Mark series has been very dear to your heart. As an author, did you have a favorite character in the book?
Oh, that's a hard question to answer because as an author, and you know this, Lynda, as an author, you always feel like every character is your child. So how do you pick one? How do you pick one without upsetting the others? But I will say, Deacon really touched my heart because he is such a radical Christian. He listened to the Holy Spirit, and he could care less what anybody thinks. He follows his heart. He loved Desiree, and regardless of the fact that she was struggling with her betrayal, he continues to pursue her heart. And so he touched my heart. So I won't say he's my favorite, but he is one that really did hold a special place in my heart.
Awesome. And for those that have never read the series, you've given us a brief synopsis about the character of Deacon. Can you go ahead and tell us a little bit about each of Ollie, Desiree, and Zoe? Is that Zoe or Zoe?
It is Zoe. I would love to know Oliver or Ollie. Ollie starts out in book 1. I love him, too, because Ollie started out as a deadbeat, non-working man living off his girlfriend. And by the time he gets to book 3, he is a business owner. He has his own art gallery, single father, doing the right thing, back in church, he's serving God. So he actually ends up, and I don't want to give it away. But what I will say,
don't give away a lot.
I don't want to give it away. But you see the transformation from book 1 all the way up to book 3, how the Lord has just led him and how he's been open. And Desiree, she starts out in book 3 because, of course, she's in a relationship with Ollie. but
Okay.
she's a school principal, and she learns how to forgive herself for what she has done. And I've talked a little bit about Deacon already. And Zoe actually is a psychiatrist, but the one person, she's a doctor and she can't self-heal. And her main issue is with her mother. And so she's trying to deal with loving the unlovable. And she plays a significant role again, but I don't want to give it away. So you're just going to have to get the book and read it.
Absolutely. So basically what I'm hearing, and again, for those that are listening and tuning in, this is author Brook Lynn Dorcent, Dorcent, and she's talking about her new book, Forgetting Betrayal, but you can actually go back and download or purchase the whole Mark series on Amazon. So basically what you're telling us is these characters are growing from book to book. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, ma'am.
Excellent, excellent. Now, Brook Lynn, you are so incredibly busy. You're doing a lot of different things. Are you still writing for the newspaper?
I am. Actually, my last column came out just before my book signing, and I wrote about my challenge with finding a publisher, and as being a self-published author, it's very difficult to get your book in a major chain bookstore. So that was my actual last column. And I'm going to work on something else. The executive editor said to me, I want to hear more about your journey, your writing journey. So I'll be working on that. I also have my blog that I haven't updated in a while, but I want to get back to blogging. So, yeah, I've been really busy. And then my Writers Club, my group, I have 3 authors that are aspiring authors that are very close to completing their book right now.
Excellent, excellent. And what's the title of your article, and where can readers find your article? And it's just in North Carolina?
It's the name of the newspaper is the Daily Reflector, and it's in Greenville, North Carolina. And typically, if I do write for the paper, it'll be in a 4th Sunday column as a guest columnist. So I'm not scheduled to write anything yet, but as soon as I do, something comes to me, I'll share it with the executive editor, and hopefully that will be printed in the guest column on the 4th Sunday.
Awesome. And sweetie, what inspired you to found Just Right, the Club for Writers?
I'll be honest with you, it was the Holy Spirit that led and guided me to do that, because honestly, when I received the calling and the prompt to do it, I said, Lord, don't I have enough to do? Why would you ask me to do this, And he clearly said there are many books to be written, but you cannot write them all. But you can help others complete their work. So to be obedient, and it has been wonderful. I love my writers. I have 8 members that are actively working, and it is just I go to minister, and every time I leave a meeting, I come back full because they minister to me.
Right. And here's a very, very important question. Now, has working with your writers group really helped your writing as well?
I believe so. It's actually more so helped my teaching ability. I didn't actually, when I started this, I started it as a club, but I find myself actually teaching more, and so it's helped me in that arena, which I don't know where the Lord will lead me in that, but I was impressed to see that this is something that I can do. I can teach.
Now, it's so funny that you would mention that, Dorcent, and Kaija, I want you to listen to this. I so agree with that. I was just having this conversation with a group of women business owners here in the St. Louis, Missouri area, and I said, I'm doing so many things at the age of 56 that I never in my life would have imagined that I would have been able to do. I can honestly say that it's when you really submit yourself to the Lord and allow Him to show you exactly who you are and what you can do. Because right now I'm working on I don't know if you've been keeping up with me on Facebook, but my Invisible Enemy series we just had a treatment done for it. We're in the process of turning that into a movie. And I am just, you almost have to put lead weights on me to keep me from floating into the air. That's just how excited I am about this whole process of what God is doing and how faithful He is. But I say all that to say I left the library to do this full time and to work on other things that he has showed me, other skill sets that God has revealed to me over the course of the 5 years that I've been writing my book. It is just absolutely amazing. Like I told the ladies yesterday, I said I never would have imagined that I would know how to actually do audios and YouTube videos and actually create these, because now what I'm doing and what you'll get probably tomorrow is actually a YouTube video of this actual interview. And honestly, I feel like I'm a 30-year-old with this new technology that's allowing me to find out who I really am. So I understand that about what you're saying about now realizing that you have a gift for teaching. And you're also an inspirational speaker. Are you speaking at different events in the North Carolina area, Brook Lynn?
I do. I am. I actually have a reading that I have scheduled next Saturday, March the 28th at the Coffee Shack. I'll be doing a reading from Forgetting Betrayal. And then in April, and I believe it's the 18th, I'm not sure, but I'm actually doing a dramatic reading. It's not from any of my novels, so this will be something very, very new, but I'm excited about it. And I'm doing this from a new group called the Art Spot.
Great. Would you like to give, for those that are listening in the North Carolina area, where they can find you and how they can come out and listen to your inspirational talks that you're doing?
Definitely. You can find me on Facebook, and that's Brook Lynn Dorcent, BrookLynndorcent. You can also find me by email, and that's brooklyndorcent@gmail.com, or my website, www.brooklyndorcent.com.
Great. And after the show, Brook Lynn, if you could go on the Author Chat Facebook page and post that information on there. I created that page for authors to always come on there. Feel free to come on there and note their events, their book signings, their new books. One thing that's really great, and I tend to do this a lot with my books, and that is actually doing excerpts for the book. So feel free to actually post that on there. That would be absolutely fantastic.
Sure will. And Lynda, I just want to say thank you again. You have been an incredible resource and to my ministry, to my writing, and I am sharing your information with my aspiring authors, and I just hope that they connect with you, because it's truly just inspirational and just an encouragement that you are here for us and that we can promote our work through you. So thank you.
Oh, no problem. You're more than welcome. Definitely looking forward to having some of your authors out of your Just Write Club, Writers Club, come on the show and talk about their new books. It's so exciting when you're a new author and you have a book out to promote. So please send them right to me. Now, ladies, we're down to our last 1 minute, well, right about 90 seconds. So, Kyasia, any last words from you?
I would like to say again, thank you for having me on your show. And I would also like to say that to Ms. Dorcent, I'm actually going to read your first 2 books, because I wanted to know what happened at the beginning of the series. And I'll be looking for the 4th book after Forgetting Betrayal.
Wonderful. And Brook Lynn, any last words, hon?
Just thank you so much. Keep us in prayer, and I can't wait till one day you and I meet face to face.
Oh, absolutely. That is going to be so wonderful. Hopefully it will be at the premiere of the Invisible Enemies movie.
I think I'm going to have to come to that for sure.
Oh, absolutely you will. Absolutely. Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing with us about your book, Forgetting Betrayal. And Brook Lynn, again, congratulations on finding an editor and all the wonderful things that you're doing in the North Carolina area. It's very inspiring, and I just know that God has great things in store for you, and also for you, Miss Kyasia, because I can already feel through this interview that you are definitely searching for him and reaching out for him, and I think that's always a great thing.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, ladies. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and we'll catch you next time here on the Author Chat Show, okay?
Thank you, Lynda.
Okay, goodbye, sweetie. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Okay, that was author Brook Lynn Dorcent, Dorcent. You can find her books on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, where all major bookstores are, Barnes & Noble, the actual store. Again, the title of the book that we just chatted about is Forgetting Betrayal, but as she mentioned, she actually has a book series called The Mark. So if you go on to Amazon.com and put in her name, Brook, space Lynn Dorcent, you will be able to see all of her books. And like I mentioned, she had a wonderful fan base before she found a traditional author. So just imagine how far this young lady is going to fly. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on the show. We've had a great weekend talking about forgiving. And so apparently this is a word or a message for somebody that listens to the show. God, I'm not sure what you're going through. I'm not even sure who this is for. But if you're believing God to bless you, if there's any forgiveness that you need to send out to anybody, like I said, whether they hurt you intentionally or not, ask the Holy Spirit to reveal to you if you're still holding any unforgiveness towards people, and then go ahead and release it. Just release it. Every day I do a prayer where I say I forget, as I thank God for the things that he's doing and the things that I want him to do in my life that lines up with his word and will for my life. I always say, and if I have aught against any, which is if I have any anxiety or any anguish or any unforgiveness towards anybody, I forgive them. I release that. And again, so I'm just ready for the things that God has for me. And as I mentioned in the interview, we are getting very, very close to getting a screenplay together. Actually, I don't want to give too much away. Let me just say God is truly moving with the Invisible Enemy series. My vision of that becoming my vision of this particular book series, not just the book, but the whole series being turned into a movie is just, God is working. And I am just so blessed, and I just thank him for it. So, again, if you have a dream, don't give up on God, because God will never give up on you. Okay, so make sure you tune in here with us tomorrow. We'll be right back on the show. I have an author coming in that's a part of the Right Now virtual book tour, and we'll be talking to him about his book tomorrow at 4 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, so make sure you tune in. Okay, enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Author Chat Show. Good night.